talknorth.com is powered by Bite Squad. Go to bitesquad.com or download their app. Get food to your door in minutes. Use the promo code TALKNORTH to get your first delivery free. Talk North gets you your first delivery free. Welcome to this week's edition of Preps Today with John Millea. I'm Jim Suhan here with John Millea on talknorth.com, the Sports and Other Stuff podcast network. Of course, this is our high school sports show. John travels all over the state for mshsl.org. He writes John's journal for mshsl. Boy, I have so much fun. mshsl. mshsl.org. Check out his work there. And, of course, continue to check out his work here. Thank you to Brandon Morton, our producer. If you'd like to advertise with us, you can reach me at talknorthpodcast@gmail.com. And please download before you listen if you can. It's a better listening experience. It's better for us as well. Thanks to our sponsor, gourmetparlorpizza.com. We'll tell you more about them and some other sponsors as we go. Let's start with a breakdown of the Tip-Off Classic.
Yeah,
John.
Jim, this is a big event for hoop heads. 2 Saturdays, generally the first 2 Saturdays in December at the Lindbergh Center at Hopkins High School, which is their giant basketball facility. The Breakdown guys, this is a company in Minnesota that has big-time basketball, and they hold lots of events. They put out these great full-color basically yearbooks on a lot of different sports, first-rate people running that. Most of them are former coaches. But this past Saturday was the boys Breakdown Tip-Off Classic. So there are 2 courts set up, 8 games on each court. It's wall-to-wall basketball. And it's not just the big schools. They have, 1A, 2A schools, schools from all 4 classes from all over the state. The big 4A matchups bring in the crowds, but it's really fun for me anyway, as a small town guy, to see my friends from 1A and 2A schools and coaches and kids. And it's kind of just everybody's there. It's one of these deals, college coaches are there, all the AAU guys are there, all the media people who are involved in basketball are there. It's really a fun event. It's a long day. I'm not usually there the entire day. I think the first game tips off at 8:30 in the morning, and the last game is scheduled.
You mean you weren't there for it?
I was not there at tip-off. And I think the last game is scheduled about 9 o'clock at night. So it's a lot of hoops, but really fun. And if anybody wants to go to John's journal on the mshsl.org website right now. mshsl John, they call me. If you go to mshsl.org, you find a story about 2 of legendary coach Bob McDonald's grandkids, who are Class 4A boys basketball coaches, Bryce and Brock Tesdall. Bryce is the 28-year-old head coach at Eastridge High School, and his kid brother Brock, who's 25, is an assistant at Hopkins, both of them on the boys' side. And old Coach McDonald would have been proud. Bryce's team came into Saturday as the number 1 ranked team in the state in the big schools. Brock's Hopkins team was number 2. There's going to be some changes because Eastridge lost to Prior Lake, and then second-ranked Hopkins beat Lakeville North, so we might have a swapping of the Tesdall guys at the top of the rankings. But I've known these guys since they were in high school. They played on great teams at Crosby Ironton. And I talk a little bit about the family history. Anybody who knows Bob McDonald knows that Bob has 6 kids. They all became coaches. The 4 sons are still coaching. And Brock and Bryce's mom, Sue Tesdall, her husband, Neil, is a longtime assistant boys basketball and football coach at Crosby Ironton. And these guys come from tough stock. I was up at Crosby Ironton the first week of football practice, and their dad, Neil, had, I think 2 weeks earlier, had a hip replaced. He's out there on the football practice field using a cane, which he hated, to get around and bark at the kids, and really a great family. And it's an interesting look at these two guys, these two young coaches. I asked both of them the same question. Was there ever a point in your life you didn't think you'd be a teacher and a coach? And they both looked at me like, that's a really dumb question, mshsl John. No, of course not. Well, they grew up, going to their mom and dad's teams practices, and hanging out in schools. And Bryce was a 2-year grad assistant at Minnesota Duluth. They both played at Bemidji State. And Bryce told me the 2 years he was on the Division II level, he knew something was missing. And then he came back to the high school level. From there, he was the head coach at New Prague for 2 years. Now he's in his second year as the head coach at Eastridge. And he said there was something different. As soon as he got back to the high school level, he felt right at home. And these guys love to teach and are really good at what they do. So it was a big, fun day of basketball. I'll mention one of the best games I saw. This was a couple of 2A schools. Perham, which is ranked number 2 in Class 2A, beat Caledonia, which came in ranked number 5 in 2A. The score was 66-61. This is intriguing because Caledonia, they had a long football season. They won another state football championship, and Perham got to the state semifinals, so they both played football inside the big stadium in downtown Minneapolis. Here they are doing great things in basketball. And it was funny, I was sitting with some coaches from another school. We're watching this game, and the Caledonia football players, I don't know what point in the playoffs they do it, they all give themselves mohawk haircuts, bleached blonde. They all look the same. So basketball season starts.
That wouldn't work for me.
No. So basketball season starts. They basically nearly shave their heads. So they've all got just shaved heads, basically, just a little bit of hair growing, and back in its natural colors. But there was one player from Caledonia, thick black hair and a beard. I don't know the young man's name. I'd have to go back and look, but I said to one of these other guys, I said, I'll guarantee you that kid was not on the football team. He did not bleach his hair. He's got a full head of hair. So he is a basketball player and not a football player. So that was really fun. That's always a great day. There'll be another similar event this coming Saturday down in Rochester. I'll be down there. This is an event run by coaches down there. It's the HVL TRC Showdown, and I'll go through that. The HVL is the Hiawatha Valley League. TRC, Three Rivers Conference. So basically 2 conferences of small schools go together, and it's all day, 2 courts at the Mayo Civic Center, half boys, half girls. They match up teams from one conference against teams from the other. And it'll be good. It'll be a little less hectic than the Breakdown Boys event, but it's a good chance for me to see my friends down in the Rochester area, and I'm looking forward to it, weather permitting, as we say.
Yes. Near collision of the week.
Okay, I'm at the Breakdown thing Saturday, and there's a lot of basketball. I have a courtside seat. I'm all set up, but I get up and walk around and go to the restroom and go see if there's anything to eat and chat with people, and I'm kind of walking. There's basically a walking track above the courts there, and there's room. They have 4 basketball courts. It's a big facility and a big track all the way around. And you can watch the games. You can look at both courts from up above there. A lot of people kind of hang on the rail and look over. And I'm walking on this track going to the stairway to come back down. And like everybody else in the world, I've got my head down and looking at my phone. And I realize at the last possible instant, there's another guy taller than me walking towards me, head down in the phone. This is going to be a titanic collision before I peeled off. And it was Fran McCaffrey, the Iowa coach.
Oh, wow.
And I tweeted about it. I said, this would have been iceberg versus Titanic. And the obvious question, which somebody posed, which one of you would have been which? I said, my weight is much lower than Fran McCaffrey's is. I'd have taken him right out. He'd have been throwing deck chairs off. But I saved the Iowa Hawkeye basketball fans a lot of trouble there if their coach had gone down in a head-on collision with me.
Well, see, you're a Minnesota native. I'm not sure whether people are going to be happy to hear this or not.
That's right. Well, I'm an Iowa guy.
That's true.
I'm so old. I covered Lute Olson when he was in that job. That's how long ago that was.
Quick story. I was covering Missouri basketball, driving around the Midwest. We're driving from a road game in Michigan State to a road game at Iowa State, and I'm a Cub reporter. I'm still intimidated by public figures.
Sure.
And I think my partner said, hey, why don't you try to call Johnny Orr? I'm like, okay. So we're at a payphone, of course. This is the old days.
Yeah.
Payphone, Stop at a payphone, call Johnny Orr's office, and secretary says, well, she sounds like aggravated, right? Well, how much time do you need? I said, I'll take it whatever I can get. And she goes, okay. And she patches me through. And Johnny Orr, I said, "Hi, I'm so-and-so. Can I ask you a couple questions?" "Sure. I'm on the John. You got 5 minutes."
Make them good, buddy.
That's my Iowa
They were very,
basketball.
I've got another old Iowa story. When George Raveling was hired at the University of Iowa after Nicholson, I was a sports editor at the Ottumwa Courier in southern Iowa, me and one other guy. That was the sports department. Not knowing much, being a young guy, I think I called. And I didn't talk to George, but I got somebody in the office wondering could I come up and sit down with him. I ended up spending like 3 hours in his office one day. He didn't know me from Adam. He just figured, this must be... I probably fooled him into thinking, this is some big-time newspaper guy. I better treat him right. And it was fantastic. I had way more stuff than I could ever write. And I've always been a George Raveling fan ever since. And, it's amazing the stories that people would never realize what goes on behind the scenes. And I was obviously in Iowa when Johnny Orr was there. There was no more beloved coach than Johnny Orr, because he was fantastic.
He was a great character.
Yeah,
absolutely.
He really was.
Sorry for the interruption. We'll get back to prep sports now. Let's do Simpsons Toy of the Week. Let's thank Gourmet Parlor Pizza first, our friends out of Royalton, Minnesota, who can help you with good pizza and also great fundraising.
I was at my local Cub Foods last night, Jim, and every time I'm in there, I'm searching the pizza cases looking for Gourmet Parlor Pizza. My Cub Foods has not yet been selected, but check out Cub, Coburn's, and Kowalski's. You'll find great frozen pizzas from Gourmet Parlor Pizza. And they do a great job, as we've talked about many times. They specialize in fundraising for groups, especially school groups. And we're talking about high school sports here. So name a high school team or club that doesn't fundraise, and I'd be surprised if you could, because that's a huge thing anymore. So sports teams, dance teams, robotics teams, school parties, prom parties, your local, any other civic organizations, your VFWs, your Legion clubs. It's a great way to fundraise. And they have more than 30 items. Go to their website, Gourmet Parlor Pizza, decide what you'd like to order. You'll make at least $3 on every item, and on some of these babies, you'll pocket more than $5 on those on the bigger items. And they make it easy. They deliver it. It'll be ready to go. And like I said, go to gourmetparlorpizza.com, our great friends in Royalton, or you can give them a call at 888-584-5930. Thank you to Gourmet Parlor Pizza.
Thanks to gourmetparlorpizza.com. Also, I just want to highlight a sponsor from another program that you might be interested in. If you're ever interested in really casual Minnesota sports-themed apparel, check out sodastick.com. They do special runs. They react to the news of the day, put out cool stuff on whether it's Lindsey Whalen or the Vikings or Randy Moss, John Randall, curling. Lots of cool stuff. Check out sodastick.com. Just wanted to do a favor for one of our other network sponsors. Simpsons Tweet of the Week.
Okay, we have a Simpsons-related Tweet of the Week. I'm not a huge Simpsons expert, but I saw something at the Breakdown Tip-Off Classic that reminded me of a classic Simpsons episode. They're throwing T-shirts into the crowd. I don't know if they say Breakdown on them, probably. And people are going nuts. Free T-shirts. They weren't shot out of a cannon, but they're tossed several times during the day. So I tweeted, as I'm watching the fans clamor for the T-shirts, it brings back memories of the demise of Maude Flanders. And as Simpsons people know, she fell off the bleachers at, I think it was an auto racing event where T-shirts were being fired into the crowd, and Homer was up there without his shirt on, wanting a T-shirt, and I think she got knocked off and died. And here's the Simpsons Tweet of the Week. Phil Griffin, a great humorist in Spring Grove, Minnesota, tweeted this: "Often forgotten and sad part of her death was the lack of life insurance, which their family could have used. Consuming the low profits at the leftorium," which Simpsons people will understand. Ned considered insurance a form of gambling. Hashtag RIP Maude.
Oh, my God.
Yeah,
there's a Simpsons line for everything. There really is. It's fantastic.
Yeah, that made me laugh out loud when I was sitting there at the basketball games the other day.
Oh, beautiful. Well, as we watch NFL officials screw up the league, we still appreciate all the officials at... That was a mean thing for me to say, but because one of the themes of the show is we really appreciate and need officials at youth sports, in high school sports, and everything in between. And they're good at their jobs. They work hard at their jobs. They're not doing it for much money. They're kind of doing it, to be involved and the goodness of their hearts. So how do you get more officials?
Yeah, Jim, there was kind of a warning shot fired last week. This was from Colorado. my counterpart there, a guy named Ryan Casey, who does a